What's up, guys?
Coach, how are you?
Great. You guys? Good.
What would you like to see your defense do differently? I know you guys did quite well, right? But what would you like to see them do differently in the
Play harder.
Yeah.
We played hard in spurts. I thought the first play of the game was awesome. If you watch that on tape, you got 11 guys running the ball. And we got a chase. Lucas played far more aggressive than I thought he would, so I was really proud of that for him. He shows that he has the ability to be a complete corner, a complete football player. I mean, we ask our DBs to do a lot of things more than other people. I mean, they've got to be violent on the run. They've got to be aggressive to the run fit so they can't run the football, and then we're going to put them in some positions where they got to make plays. And I thought they started out well. But as the game went on, we wore down a little bit, and we substituted a lot, so there's no excuse for that. We got a little complacent as the game got out of hand, and that was why they had a little bit more success in the fourth quarter. Now, we had some guys in there that hadn't played earlier, but we want to play those guys. We played 27 guys. We want to be around 18, 19, 20 guys, and we can play fresh and play up to the hardness of our expectation. So I want to see that continue to improve every week.
Can you talk about the play that Shannon Foreman made, both in terms of just how those guys were dropping that lane, and then just how the overall team played, how they graded?
You know, it's funny. I was really happy for Shannon because I've had a lot of questions of people wondering why we have him at end. Well, there you go. Okay, he answered that for him. I didn't have to say a word. What was good about that deal is that was a great assignment. I kept telling those guys, because we do some pretty exotic things with those guys sometimes. I mean, we drop D linemen and we expect them to get 12 to 15 yards deep sometimes, and sometimes they can rob slants, and that's what Shannon did. He took a step to, I mean, the hardest thing for those guys to figure out when they do that is we expect them to play run first, so they've got to read stuff, and that actually, it takes them a while to understand is that actually helps them run into those things, because if they step up and say play run, and it's actually a run, we're better on defense. But when they drop out, the quarterback doesn't see them, because if they stand up and do it right now, it's an easy read. So he did a great job. He stood up, he attacked the inside shoulder of the tackle like he's supposed to, and then he takes 3 steps back, and the most impressive deal of that was the hands. I mean, he snagged that thing like he's a high school fullback, so it was natural, but it was a work of beauty. And then his run down the sideline, and they celebrated together. So that was pretty cool. I mean, if you'd have told me we were going to be up 14-0 with 13 minutes to go in the game, I'd have told you you're crazy. So that was a great start, and I think it kind of got things going in the right direction.
You guys got great pressure all night, it seems. Do you think you're going to be able to get some of the pressure positions?
You know what? Our guys did a really good job of coming hard. We had some matchups that we were a little better. I mean, UTSA's, I think by the end of the football season, they're going to be a pretty good football team. Like I said, when you get down 14-0 early, you've got a young quarterback. It's really hard to get things going. And then when we got a guy like Nikhil, I mean, it really changes the momentum of the game. Now, what Michigan State's deal is they want to run the ball. They want to shorten the game. They want to pound you and pound you and pound you. So if you want to have any success, you can't let them run the ball, and that's the goal. I mean, we're gonna play hard and try and make them throw it, and when they throw it, hopefully we can make some plays in coverage. And do I think we'll have 9 sacks? No. Did I think we're gonna have 9 sacks Saturday? No. So give the players credit, because they did an outstanding job of getting to the quarterback and getting there. You know what? They've come out to work, and I think from organization and making your improvements goes as coaches too. We have to get better, because a lot of those, I mean, it was a sloppy game in a lot of aspects. I mean, those 11 penalties, those aren't all the kids' faults. I mean, there's 11 grown men that should act like they've been there before, and there was times that we didn't. So we've got to clean that up so that we're better prepared. So you should see improvement there. Some sideline organization will be better. Some substitution will be better. The guys' emotions, I mean, talking to them, we had a couple stupid penalties on defense that we can't have. I mean, I talk all the time, I want them to play on edge, but they have to be able to control that, and there was a couple times that we didn't. The thing that concerns me, we outscored them 49-7. all you guys are wonderful and I love you all, but you write too many nice things about us. So now all of a sudden they walk around and they think they're this wonderful bunch, which I think you have to have confidence. You have to believe in yourself. But when you get complacent and everybody's patting you on the shoulder, it's real easy to think you're a lot better than you are. We're not very good yet. Okay, we had a good night. We outscored a team that we should have beat 49-7. We were better. We were a little bit more talented than they were across the board. But like I said, I think UTSA is a good football team, and by the end of the season, I think they've got a really good coaching staff. I don't think they're going to look like a 49-7 team. I mean, if we play them again, it wouldn't be anything like that. So with this group so far, we haven't handled success well in the spring. If we have a good day of practice, we come back the next day and we're not very good. So that was my big concern. So I'm watching the Michigan State-Utah State game Saturday night after our game, just kind of flipping through it just to get an idea, just to see, and that's all I could think about was, what are we going to come to work at? Well, yesterday they came to work and they said the right things and they had the right attitude. And it's going to be communicated to them to stay humble. Humility is the best thing. When you have humility, you usually don't get embarrassed. So if we can stay that course, I think you'll see a lot of improvement between week 1 and week 2. Now, does it mean we're going to beat somebody like we did? No. I mean, it means we're going to be in a competitive football game, and whoever makes the most plays at the end wins the football game.
What do you think adding J.J. Wilson back is going to do add to your defense?
The guys were happy he was back, so he did everything we asked him to while he was gone. If he plays hard, I think he adds something. What I want to give, JJ's been great. He's worked his tail off the last 2 days in practice. So, I mean, he's a good football player that gives us another good football player to run in there and out of there like musical chairs. So I'm glad he's back, and hopefully you guys write nice things about him next week.
When it comes to defending the pass in general, it's sometimes more challenging to play against a team like Michigan State, which kind of blow you to sleep with a strong running game versus just defending an air raid, for example? There's a lot of parts of that, especially their play action game. They're very sound in what they do. They disguise what they do very well. They've got great receivers on the outside that are very competitive. They make great competitive catches. The 50-50 balls that we talk about with Nikhil all the time are 75-25, maybe even 95-5 when you throw it to 1. Well, you throw it out there to 18, it's the same way. I mean, he's going to jump up over guys. He's 6'4", he's 200-some pounds, and he's a big, strong guy. And they make you get a whole bunch of guys in there in the box to stop the run, and they get one-on-one coverage outside. And if our DBs are good enough to make plays, then we'll be successful. If we can put enough guys up there to stop the run and the DBs can make plays, then you got a really good chance. If you guys on the outside can't make plays and you have to give them help, well then you got to get less guys in the box, and now they have an advantage. So it'll be a cat and mouse game. We'll try and give them numbers sometimes. We'll try and make it look like we got a bunch of guys in there. They'll bail out. We'll try and bail out and throw a bunch of guys up in there. We'll see what happens. But I think the key to this, and we talk about it, you've got to have clean eyes. A DB's got to have clean eyes. Give him his keys. If his job is to cover the tight end, cover the tight end. He'll tell you whether it's run or pass. If his job is to cover the wide out, cover the wide out. Don't start looking at the quarterback and trying to be special and do more than you're supposed to. If you just do your job and make plays, you'll be special.
What about the challenges of the rookie, just how he does things after everybody's breaking down or scrambling?
I think he's a really special football player. I was reading an article yesterday that it came down between Arizona State and Michigan State. I believe it. He's a great quarterback. He's really good with his feet. He has great pocket presence. He spins out of trouble. It's almost like he has eyes in the back of his head. He knows where you're coming from, and he spins in the right direction. He doesn't always spin the same way, so we can't tell our guys, hey, he's going to go up high. I mean, sometimes it's underneath, and then when he rolls out, he's got a tremendous arm accurate. I mean, the accuracy is unbelievable. I mean, he hits those guys, and he throws it where you're not. So it's very concerning. We've got to get to him and keep him in the pocket and not let him extend plays, and I mean, that he can really hurt you if he does that.
How is Stanley progressed off his first game instead of coming out of high school where he is?
Stanley Lambert, he did some really good things on Saturday, and he did some really freshman things on Saturday. There's one kickoff he's running down, and he runs past the first line, and he thinks
that he's just scot-free, beat him with his speed. Well, there's a linebacker coming across the field that hit him so hard in the side of the head it knocked him about 6 feet in the air. And he came to the sideline like he never knew that was even possible. It was like, welcome to college football. And then there's some times he came off the edge and they couldn't slow him down. So Merlin and Darian had similar stuff. Those guys, for being true freshmen, played far above where they should have. And now I hope they do the same thing again this week because they helped us. They were a big part of our success.
You had a conversation with Phil Bennett about how the first game went, or just generally how things have been going.
I have not talked to Coach Bennett this week, but I talked to Coach Bennett a lot since I've taken the job. I've known Coach Bennett for a long time. I think the world of him. I think the progress that he made from 2 years ago to last year has helped us. And I haven't talked. I'll talk to him soon, but I haven't talked to him this week.
What sort of message are you delivering to your squad on Saturday night?
I mean, my philosophy: the team that plays the hardest, the longest wins, and we've got to play harder and be more physical and be tougher than they are. And if we're willing to throw our bodies around, we'll have a chance. I mean, I told them before the UTSA game, they're going to feel as good as they've ever felt. They're going to be plenty fresh. And Saturday night after that game, they should feel horrible. And they won't feel good again until next February. So if they're willing to overcome that feeling and throw their bodies up in there and be mean and nasty like we want them to, we'll have a chance. If they ain't tough enough, we won't. So that's what they're going to hear from me all week.
Coach, what extent do you feel like this game is a battle of mental toughness, especially for the front seven against a team that runs the ball so much, and how prepared do you think you guys are?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what I said. If they're willing to give it up physically and just throw it around, then we got a chance. I agree. This game's going to be one in the trenches. If our D-line can match what their O-line does, then it'll be a really competitive, fun football game. And if we have 60,000 people in there and 15,000 screaming students, it'll be a great time environment. And whoever makes the most plays at the end will win. If we don't match their physicality, because it's what they do. I mean, they have their brand. Coach D'Antonio's done an unbelievable job of building a culture. They know what their DNA is. They know who they are. So they know exactly what they're going to do when they come here. And their idea is to pound us into the ground, take some shots, throw it over the top, and shorten the game and leave here with a victory. Well, we got to match that.
Do you think Evan will be available, and just how's Tillman?
I think he'll be available. He's practiced so far these 2 days. Those three guys have rotated 3 plays on, 3 plays off, all around. I think all 3 of them give us something different. And if we do it right on the coaching side of it, we can make a complete Tillman out of those 3 guys, and that fires me up. Evan wasn't dressed on Saturday. Jalen gets thrown out in the first quarter. We don't have another guy outside of Daz that's taking a single rep. So I didn't know what we were going to do. He got hurt. I can't play.
Do you think Devontae King could also play that position at some point?
He's the smartest one. It's hard to do that when you haven't practiced because you're asking a guy to do something he's never done before in his life. As easy as it sounds, assignment-wise, they get up there and they line up 8 yards over the ball and we expect them to run up there and take on O-linemen. When you've never done that before, it's not fun if you don't have the right mentality. Now, if you just don't care what happens to your body, and most good football players don't, it's a lot of fun because you get an opportunity to do a lot of fun things, but it's hard to do something you've never done before, and to do it in a live game would be even harder, but he's the one that mentally would know what to do.
You went over with Harvey about what happened there.
Yes.
What was kind of the message to make sure that doesn't happen again?
You know, you have to understand the situation of who that is. Quarterbacks, you can't touch them. I mean, we should probably put a vest on them with lights so when you get close to them, it lights up so you don't hit them. I mean, that's kind of where we're headed. So you can't do that. When you see a quarterback give himself up and go foot first, you got to be smart and dive over him and avoid him. If that's a running back, I think you take that shot. If those guys are even moving in the slightest bit, I want our guys to hit them. Because if we get 3, 4, 5 guys to hit them, by the end of the game, they get tired of it and the ball ends up on the ground and we're going to be around it if we play hard and we'll recover it. But you can't do that to a quarterback. And the maturing process of how we want him to play and being on that edge, he was a little frustrated because, I mean, I talked to him about getting to the pile and getting a piece of the running back, and his first thing was, why, you know, he was still, but he's not. It's a quarterback, and they've got to understand that. We've talked about it. Communicating with this generation, you can tell them. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. If you can figure out how to tell them and they listen all the time, it'd be pretty special. Thank you, guys.